Welcome to Hockey with Talks podcast. Today I'll be talking about the players teams should target at the NHL Trade Deadline. The 2020 NHL Trade Deadline is scheduled for April 12th, which is fast approaching. So with that said, I will talk about who NHL teams should target at the trade deadline. The Anaheim Ducks will be sellers at the trade deadline. Look for players such as Josh Manson, Danton Heinen, and possibly Jacob Silfverberg to be moved. The Arizona Coyotes are a borderline playoff team. They need more goal scoring up front. Adding a player like Victor Arvidsson from Nashville could help them. The Boston Bruins need to bolster the left side of their defense. They should target Matthias Ekholm of the Nashville Predators. Buffalo Sabres will be sellers at the trade deadline. There is no untouchable on the team except maybe Rasmus Dahlin. The Calgary Flames need a top 6 right winger to play alongside Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau. The player they should target is Joel Armia of the Montreal Canadiens. The Carolina Hurricanes need a second-line goal-scoring winger. They should target Kyle Palmieri of the New Jersey Devils. The Chicago Blackhawks need to add a top 6 center. The player they should target is Adrian Kempe of the LA Kings. The Colorado Avalanche need to add a physical presence on the blue line for the playoff run. The player they should target is Josh Manson of the Anaheim Ducks. Columbus Blue Jackets should be sellers at the deadline. Look for players like David Savard, Nick Foligno, and maybe even Patrick Laine to be shopped at the deadline. Dallas Stars should be sellers at the deadline. Look for players such as Blake Como, Andrew Cogliano, and Jamie Oleksiak to be moved. Detroit Red Wings should be sellers at the deadline. Everyone on the Red Wings NHL roster could be moved besides Dylan Larkin. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywithtalkshockey.blogspot.com. Also visit my scouting blog at hockeywith77scouting.com. Edmonton needs to get a top 6 forward that can play center and wing. The player they should target is Robbie Fabry from the Detroit Red Wings. The Florida Panthers lack a strong two-way center. The player they should target is Travis Zajac from the New Jersey Devils. The LA Kings should be sellers at the deadline. Everyone on the Kings NHL roster could be moved besides Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty. The Minnesota Wild are weak at center. They should consider adding a player like Dylan Strome from the Chicago Blackhawks. The Montreal Canadiens need to bolster their defense with Ben Chiarot out. They should target Jordy Benn from the Vancouver Canucks. The Nashville Predators should be sellers at the deadline. Everyone on the Preds NHL roster could be moved besides Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg. The New Jersey Devils should be sellers at the deadline. Look for the Devils to move veteran players such as Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac. The New York Islanders should add a veteran defenseman at the deadline. The player they should target is Colin Miller from the Buffalo Sabres. The New York Rangers need a third pair puck-moving defenseman to replace Tony DeAngelo. The player they should target is Eric Gustafsson from Philly. The Ottawa Senators should be sellers at the deadline. All skaters over 25 could be moved. Visit my Facebook page at Mr. Hockeywith. Visit my Facebook page at Hockeywith777 and my Instagram at Hockeywith777. The Philadelphia Flyers need to add a top 4 defenseman to pair with Ivan Provorov. They should target David Savard from the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Pittsburgh Penguins need more offensive depth if they want to make a deep playoff run. The player they should target is Eric Stahl from the Buffalo Sabres. The San Jose Sharks should be sellers at the deadline. Erik Karlsson is the most attractive trade asset they have if he is open to a trade. The St. Louis Blues need to add more goal scoring. They should consider adding a player like Alex Iafallo from the LA Kings. The Tampa Bay Lightning need to bolster the right side of their defense. They should target Brandon Montour from Buffalo. The Toronto Maple Leafs need to add a physical presence on their team. The player they should target is Jake Virtanen from the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks should be sellers at the deadline. Look for the Canucks to move veteran players such as Brandon Sutter, Tanner Pearson, Jay Beagle, and Antoine Roussel. The Vegas Golden Knights need to add more depth scoring to the team. The player they should target is Derek Brassard from the Arizona Coyotes. The Washington Capitals should add a 4th line center. The player they should target is Dylan Gambrell from the San Jose Sharks. The Winnipeg Jets need to bolster the right side of their defense. The player they should target is Matt Roy from the LA Kings. There is a possibility that this year's trade deadline won't be as busy as years past due to COVID, because the pandemic limits the trade options for each team.